Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Fallout Friday. So we're back on Spectacle Island. We're going to carry on our companion home builds, building a boxing gym for Cait this time. So as always, if you like what you see, hit those buttons and let's get stuck in. So we're over on the north side of the island here. Just in the distance see the mansion rebuild over there, or what little of it's drawn in. We'll start with the foundation. I've cleared the ground a little bit here, because Spectacle Island is huge and a wonderful place to build, but finding flat space is a bit of a nightmare. So I've picked this little corner. It turns out there's actually a few more interesting places to build that I'm looking forward to playing around with actually. So, we're working with barn pieces and warehouse pieces for this one, because I wanted the extra height for the build. So I'll stick the foundation down, grab a level. And as this is going to be a boxing gym, our big main feature obviously is the ring, so you can make sure that's actually going to fit in the building. We're a bit small here, so we'll expand the foundations a little bit here. So, slight little bit of problem moving this up, trying to get it into the right position. So definitely didn't want the grass poking through. Yeah, there we go. Didn't want the grass poking through, but it doesn't want to play ball, so I ran over to the end, found the highest corner, and adjusted it from there. Fortunately, that went quite nice and easy. I did a fair bit of research actually while I was looking at this. Looked at a few boxing gyms online and compared their facilities and stuff. Funnily enough, if you haven't seen it and you're into boxing, take a look at what Anthony Joshua's doing at the moment. The gym he's just put together is freaking mental. It's amazing. So I wish I'd had the facilities to nick a few more ideas from there, but sadly that didn't happen. But still, help me see some of the more interesting features I need to make sure I include. So this bit, dead easy, just grab it and pop it up. Nice and easy. Just have to raise your field of view once you've selected it. Simple as you like. It's all on the new level. So we're on to modded stuff now. So this is all in unlocked settlement objects. We've got retextured versions of all the barn pieces, and we're on the red brick here. So I wanted to make the thing look a little bit different and a little bit less beaten up than the metal panels look, at least on the outside. Eventually realised I'd forgotten to change them around and use the metal ones on the inside, because red brick was just a little overbearing. But for the walls it was quite cool. One thing I'm not overjoyed about is that the wooden supports on the walls are also textured in brick and they look a bit silly. But what can you do? It's PS4, we're overly restricted. So I'll just shift the door along, because on this left hand edge here I want some internal rooms. Which is one of the great things I love about using barn and warehouse pieces. Internal walls and doors are absolutely no problem, they just snap in. Which after last week's build is an absolute blessing. So I had to fight somewhat to get the internal walls done on a Resident Evil build last week. So eventually when these want to snap in the right place, they're very snap happy, but they tend to try and go around corners a bit much, which is slightly irritating. So I'm going to pull this wall out in a minute and replace it with a metal one, because it looks better. As cool as the red brick is, it's a little bit too in your face when you got that much of it. So we'll divide it off. On this level this is going to become the changing rooms, or the locker rooms. So we'll separate those out and start putting the office space in upstairs. This will become Cait's living room and bedroom space over the upper level of a boxing gym that she's taken over, or had built, depending on which way you want to look at it. To be honest, I finished building the darn thing, I still haven't decided which one it is. This was a total pain in the neck, which we'll come back to in a minute, but I eventually figured out how those stairs snap, but they didn't want to play ball here, so just have to jump the gap from now on. Get my OCD with the floor down. Now, carrying on with the upper level. I did notice the structure's a little boxy, which is bugging me quite a bit early on, which is why I basically put the roof on 3 different levels. But it works out alright. So there we go, this is the changing over the internal walls. It's generally much easier to do things like this if you leave at least part of the original in place and then start off and then carry on from there, like this. So then you've got something to snap to. And they're very forgiving with that, these pieces, so it's very handy. Apart from the jumping around bit there. So these little inner rooms are going to become the showers. Put them backing on. I did want to put a kind of grated floor in, a bit like I did with the showers in the prison builder did a while back. But that would have left it without a solid floor and it would have looked particularly ridiculous from the outside. Which was easy enough to work around in concrete, but not so much with barn pieces, unfortunately. So, back upstairs. And again, I've used the metal warehouse walls rather than barn ones for this. Unfortunately, they only seem to want to snap one way round, so you have to make sure you're facing the right direction to get them to play ball, which is simple enough, but slightly annoying. Yeah, you can really see the drawbacks for the brick texture on that one. It really doesn't look the part at all. So, we'll extend the walls up a little bit. I think I had a couple of boxing films in the back of my mind. $1 Million Baby is the big one that was floating around in the back of my head while I was building this. Which is the reason I wanted the clearance and the high ceilings. Because I think that's the reason. It was certainly the movie that was floating around in the back of my head anyway. And finally on this build I actually got to use those roof pieces with the beams on, so I do like them. But got to find the right place for them. So right there they would have looked ridiculous, but as you'll see in the moment we found the right place for them. With the varying roof heights it works quite well as a sort of converted warehouse type build. As you can see there, however, the stairs only want to snap in on one side, which is namely the inside of this piece. Lower wall piece, which is useful to know, but in the end I didn't put the stairs straight on anyway, so it didn't really matter. There we go, there's those roof pieces I like so much. Well, that really is dark, isn't it? Sorry about that. Oh well, you can see what I'm doing clearly enough anyway. Just put in a little extra walkway just outside the office space there, which I'll then snap the stairs onto, completely bypassing the problem I was having. And Curie's hanging around as well. So these rails are from the concrete tab. As far as I'm aware, there aren't actually any rails in the barn or warehouse tabs, which is a bit strange, but still. I looked at various textures added by the mod for these and just ended up settling on the vanilla ones. It's the barn stairs that are at the end there are rusted metal. So I wanted the railing to match. Okay, we have daylight again. So this is actually a pier piece, which has been added by Unlocked Settlement objects as well. There's been some major add-ons to this recently. I absolutely love that he's rearranging the menus as he's going now, because it's taking a lot less time to find what I'm looking for. I'm editing out a lot less menu work, which is a definite blessing. And as an added bonus, it's quite soft on the edges, so it's easy to just press it up against the walls, and it looks nice and neat, like that. I would have used the stairs for pier stairs that are also added by the mod, which are obviously designed to snap onto that, or at the very least be added onto that anyway. But they're about twice as wide as that. This is only half the width, so I did not bother. So with the old standby for building stairs, use the cinder blocks there, but just pillar glitch into place. Obviously it's floating, so we'll just slide another one underneath. It still leaves the back row of cinder blocks floating, but I solved that with just a cinder block wall that I just slid in afterwards. In hindsight, I could probably have used wooden foundation pieces for this, rather than the pier piece here. But I liked using something a bit different. I think it's about the same width as the foundation pieces. I've also got an interesting sort of pier plan for this place at some point, so another one. So I might get some use out of those pieces then, but we'll see. It's how it's going to be supported that's the question. If it's going to be a pain to just put supports in, I may just stick with the wooden foundations for it. On the bright side though, these railing pieces snapping quite, well, they don't snap at all, but they sit quite nicely on the edge of the pier, so that made life a lot easier. These little posts are found in the barn tab, and very good for building little wooden supports. A bit of a pain to deselect all of them. Again, like most of the barn and warehouse pieces, they're quite soft, so you can just push them in like that. Very forgiving collision on them. Makes life a lot easier. Snap this one in. Slide this one in. And there we go. Word to the wise with this one, these warehouse doors don't always behave the way you might expect, as you'll see in just a moment. So that would make sense, but oh look, it opens right into your face, so swapped it over and went for the other one. You'd think they'd have a full set, so you know, a door that opens each direction on each side, but apparently not. So, drop the boxing ring in so I'll get an idea of exactly where things are going to sit, and we'll move on to the next bit, because that's the main build completed. One of the things I saw while I was doing my bit of research was the occasional outside training space, so I thought I'd do something along those lines. That gym of Anthony Joshua's that I mentioned before, he had a setup inside that was actually vaguely similar to this, no roof on it, but apart from the building obviously. But it's on a raised wooden platform, it looked really cool, so I thought I'd combine the two elements and build this. However, as we're outside, I want something to keep the rain off and the sun out of the boxer's eyes. So we'll get a roof up there. Just use that prefab on the edge to get some height. Unfortunately, it's not quite high enough here. It turned out to be a right pain to put any supports onto, so I wound up changing it up and doing this with it, which would have been much easier if I'd only used the one. There we go. Optimistic in thinking it would snap to that. So chuck up a floor, and that will snap to it. And it stops dancing around. There we go. No, there we are. After that, we just snap the roof straight onto the edge of it. When I take the remaining supports off that are just in the way. There we go, figured it out now. Spent far too long fuffing like that. There's actually a lot of these different textured cloth roofs been added to unlock settlement objects. I believe they're in one of the little add-on mods actually. But they're very cool, I like them a lot. It's various faction themed one as well, which is pretty cool. All based around the faction flags. So, as I was having all this difficulty with finding supports for the roof, I ended up going with raider poles. It turns out they're actually different thicknesses, so I went with the thickest one of the lot, which is the third plain pole, which is this one. So it just looks a little more viable as a support that way. And it's not a perfect solution, but it does the job, and they do pillar glitch in quite nicely, just like this. Sort of. I get my brain into gear anyway. There we go. Just neatly matches up to the corners, and because we use the barn pieces to form the basis, they were already snapped on, so the corners are all lined up nice and easily as well. Yep, simple as that. So, decoration and onto the tour. Kind of wanted the neon there to look like Cait scavenged it from various places. Had a bit of a problem powering this place, but there's a windmill on top of the containers behind us. So. Well, there is now anyway. So that did the job. One of the little things I saw in various gyms is a sort of a medical area. As boxing and exercise in general are liable to cause injuries. So we've got the central feature there of the boxing ring. Some weight benches. Those ones are added by Vault-Tec workshops, so they're actually usable. They actually generate happiness and give a strength buff if your character happens to use them. Which I imagine they will do to companions as well. I also glitched a action mat on a busy settler rug rather into the boxing ring, so we should be able to see random companions wander over here and start doing press-ups in the boxing ring. But you won't see that in this video. At least all because I've yet to bring Cait over from Sanctuary. So I've got the little rubber mats that are also from the Vault-Tec workshop. And just use those to kind of provide a slightly more grippy floor and mark off the areas a little more. A few benches around for trainers and such like to observe what's going on. A little bathroom. Well, toilet anyway. And I kind of built it with it being a pre-existing gym that Cait had taken over in mind, so you've got things like filing cabinets tucked in there as a little table in there, that sort of thing. We'll see more of that upstairs in a moment. The lockers are actually added by Unlock Settlement Objects, but they're a variation on the Vault ones you can get from the Vault-Tec workshop as well. Heavy use of the invisible rugs that AndrewCX has recently added in this as well. So those lockers don't want to sit particularly close to the wall, so rug glitch those into place. Let's take a look at the main living space, shall we? No particular reason for the GCN banner apart from the fact it was huge and looked good. So loads more USO objects here. Got modular couches, destroyed shelves. I thought that made a different, kind of interesting and different coffee table. This would have once been the manager's office. It's now Cait's living room. That Nuka-Cola machine actually has an NPC animation attached to it, so they'll actually come up and use it. And although it's switched off, that ham radio also plays Diamond City Radio. So this was the storage room, which Cait's just shoved stuff out of the way a bit and turned into a kind of bedroom as well. We've got loads of random junk just tossed into the corner there. Figure she's not exactly the tidy sort, even if she does want somewhere of her own to live. Very much like these little rugs as well, have been added in USO. They're much nicer than the ones added in the base game. Even if they are a bit beaten up. I wonder if we'll be getting clean versions at some point. Yeah, make our way downstairs. I do kind of like the idea that trainers would stand on the balcony there and watch their boxers doing their thing down below. Probably shout abuse at them as well. Random little walkway built out of parts and boards, just because the ground's really uneven and I thought it'd be fun to build. It's a bit rubbish, but what the hell, I had a laugh. And our outside sparring space. And that is Cait's little boxing gym. I hope you enjoyed. As always, if you did, make sure you hit those lovely buttons. And you can follow me on social media. I'm on Twitter and Facebook /Darth Xion Games. I will speak to you soon.